The CrowdStrike Catastrophe. What critical cyber governance lessons must boards and C-suites implement from this week's massive outage? Welcome to CyberBoardCast episode 280. I'm Andrei Setnarski for Cyber Nation Central, and today we're diving into the recent, this Friday's in fact, CrowdStrike IT outage that affected 8.5 million Windows devices. This incident has huge implications for boards and C-suites. So let's break down what happened, its impact, and what you should be doing differently about it at your board and C-suite level. So what happened? On July 19th of this year, this past week, CrowdStrike released a faulty update for their Falcon security software. This update essentially caused Windows systems around the world to crash, leading to blue screens of death, so-called BSODs, and reboot loops. The outage impacted everything from airports to hospitals, financial services, media, and even government operations. The impact on critical infrastructure was massive. Airports and airlines were hit hard, flights were grounded, and airports were paralyzed, stranding travelers worldwide. Hospitals had to cancel appointments and surgeries, putting patients' lives at risk, right? Banks and stock exchanges faced outages, disrupting financial transactions and financial flows. Even 911 call centers and Social Security offices experienced significant disruptions. So what should your board and C-suite do about this going forward? First, this incident shows you the danger of relying too much on a single vendor, in this case, CrowdStrike, whose faulty update made Microsoft, the giant, go down yet again. And remember, they just had their executives breached last year, so Microsoft isn't entirely not culpable here either. Imagine if your entire security strategy hinges on one provider and they mess up. Your whole operation could go down, as happened with a lot of vendors here. So make sure you diversify your IT and cybersecurity tools and vendors. This was not a cybersecurity per se issue, right? This was not a cyber attack, but this kind of an IT outage teaches cyber attackers how to execute an outage that they can take then advantage of through a cyber attack. So it has massive implications for both your IT and security. So make sure your risk committee develops a multi-vendor strategy to avoid these single points of failure. Your CIO should implement redundancy plans for sure to keep things running if one vendor fails. Second, we need to boost our cyber resilience to begin with. This outage proves that having a plan is not enough, right? You need to practice it. So establish formal communication channels with everybody that's necessary, from international intelligence agencies to cybersecurity organizations and everybody in between. And make sure to conduct regular incident response drills and tabletop exercises. Your board chair and CEO should work closely on this with the CISO to make sure everyone is on the same page, but these kinds of tabletop exercises really have to happen from the board down, right? Because think about it, both Microsoft and CrowdStrike's board were uninvolved at a level they needed to be involved to prevent this kind of an outage to happen from a governance perspective. So this was a major governance failure as well. Third, the need for stronger regulations is kind of clear, unfortunately. I'm usually a less regulation is better for innovation kind of proponent, but in this case, we kind of need to look at regulations and see what we need to do differently. So make sure you engage with regulatory bodies to push for stringent technology and cybersecurity regulations that hold third parties accountable, ensuring they face serious consequences for lapses. This protects your business by forcing vendors to maintain the highest security standards. Now, obviously, streamline your own internal processes to meet these regulations yourself without overburdening your team. Also, right, your legal counsel and compliance committee really should lead this effort and making sure that everything is in line with the latest standards. but push this regulatory angle as well, because companies don't necessarily have a way of correcting these issues on their own sometimes. Fourth, foster a culture of cyber awareness. So critical. Cyber resilience. So critical. This incident shows that everyone in your organization, from the top down, needs to be prepared. So make sure you mandate regular cybersecurity training for all employees, directors, and executives, and promote a culture where cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility. Not just the IT team, right? CrowdStrike itself failed at that in this particular case, and we're not pointing fingers here, but there's accountability here that hasn't happened or hadn't happened prior to the incident and now needs to for everybody. This starts with the CEO and board chair setting the tone. Start there. Finally, invest in advanced scenario planning and predictive analytics and threat detection. This outage highlighted the importance of obviously cutting-edge technologies to identify and mitigate risks. So approve investments in these technologies and ensure they're continuously updated. Your CIO must deploy and maintain these systems to stay ahead of potential threats. So the CrowdStrike outage, if you really look at it, is a wake-up call for everyone. Addressing single points of failure, boosting resilience, advocating for stronger regulations, fostering a cyber-aware culture, and investing in advanced threat detection are all critical steps here for boards. Your board and C-suite must take these lessons seriously to protect your own organization, right? It kind of makes sense. Tomorrow, we'll return to our regular programming in our mini-series on crisis management and breach response for boards and C-suites. But to reassure your shareholders, your insurers, regulators, and employees that your board and C-suite are ready to lead cybersecurity and are doing so, apply for and maintain the Certified Cyber Fiduciary CCF certification by CyberNation Central. Make sure to schedule your consultation today at cybernationcentral.com. Until next time, stay vigilant and always proactive.